Hey guys, I must ask, how many of you watch football regularly and enjoy the excitement that the game brings? According to the Harris Interactive poll, football is ranked as the most popular American sport since 1985. Football is offered early in elementary through junior and senior high school, at the collegiate level, and of course professionally. I consider myself a pretty avid football fan. During the season I watch college games every Saturday and professional games on Sundays. I also played football growing up, all the way through junior high. I've read on a bunch of football history and became pretty familiar with many players in football history and some of the teams. I would love to share with you some of what I have learned. Specifically, I want to inform you about the history of football and how it has developed into one of America's greatest sports by going through three different time frames during its evolution. Comprehending the creation of football and its development may help you understand its importance to how big it's become in our culture. In 1876, at the Massasoit Convention, the first rules for American football were written, and Walter Camp, known as the father of American football, first became involved. Many changes were held throughout this time frame as the beginning of the game just got on its feet. In the beginning, field goals were worth 5 points and touchdowns were worth 4 points. After a bunch of changes, it is changed to 3 points for field goals and 6 points for touchdowns. Football equipment has had a major evolution since the beginning of the game. When football was first created, it was sort of like rugby. There was not a lot of protection, and as the game progressed, more injuries and incidents began to pile up. People were forced to start wearing better, stronger, and more protective equipment. First helmets were made out of leather straps or moleskin that were fused together, while now they are hard plastic and they have protection inside, face masks on the outside, and I mean it's a lot more protective than the way it used to be. They also have shoulder pads. Shoulder pads used to be just little pads sewn on the inside of your jersey. I mean, now they're big, hard plastic things people will just run full speed into each other with. And the football itself used to be made out of pigskin. It is now developed into more of a lasting longer, more durable, better, easier to hold, and it's because it's made out of cowhide. Now that I've showed you a little bit about the earliest history of football, let's move on to the second time frame in which football involves an even bigger game. The Super Bowl has prospered to become what is known as the granddaddy of all American sporting events. Every February, the majority of American TVs are tuned into the game. Even if you don't watch the game, the commercials and the halftime show itself are a big time deal in America. The NFL first adopted its instant replay system in 1986 and has experienced many changes since then. It was introduced for coaches to be able to challenge calls made on the field by the referee. Each coach is allowed 2 per game. Challenge can only be initiated when you're before the 2-minute warning, and the team must have 1 timeout before calling a challenge. The coach normally signals for this challenge by throwing a red flag onto the field. The game of football has developed into one of America's greatest sports through its improvements and its ability to entertain viewers. Today we examine the history of football through 3 time frames, highlighting how it got started, the beginning of its climb to the top of American sports, and where it stands now. The next time you're sitting down watching a football game, remember all the incredible history I've shared with you today, and maybe try and impress someone with it. Also, I have pictures to compare former equipment to where they're at now. This is a former football player, an old football player, and you can see that he has an old leather hat and pretty much no protection on him. And now we're to the point where Oregon players, they have this pretty sick equipment, and they're all decked out and ready to get after it. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.